What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a pretty huge list of changes that we can expect to see in November with the arrival of Beyond Light. Of course, as you guys may have heard recently, Bungie have pushed back the release date for Beyond Light until November 10th. So we are going to have to wait a little bit longer, and also with the proximity between that date and the likely start date for Season 13, it's possible there could be a little bit of a knock-on delay for the season roadmap for Year 4. But there are a lot of things to highlight in this video about the changes that we're going to see to the game. And so initially, for folks who want a bit of a recap, we'll talk about the things we know about the content specifically, the locations, activities, and core focus of the content drop, but also we're going to talk about a significant number of gameplay changes and adjustments to systems inside of Destiny that we'll see. And so I'm going to timestamp these sections of the video because some folks may want that kind of overview of Beyond Light. And then maybe some of you more technically minded folks want that full breakdown of all of the things that Bungie have spoken about regarding gameplay in the future. We'll talk about changes to destinations, aspirational rewards moving forward. We've got conversation about the new raid armor, trials armor, and when that's going to be updated. We'll touch on all of the currently known changes to progression, the title systems, seasonal pursuit weapons, currency vendors, and even some weapon tuning that we're going to see in November. So for the moment, this is kind of the master list of the things that we know about, so I hope you guys do enjoy the video and find it useful. Give us any of your thoughts on the changes or things that you're looking forward to in September in the comment section below. But now let's get into it. And to initially talk about the content itself, of course what's taking place in the game right now with Season of Arrivals and our attempts to survive the attack of the pyramid ships will ultimately lead us to an ancient pyramid ship above Europa's frozen frontier. And so of course the pyramid story continues. We'll be going to Europa, but also the Fallen Kell of Darkness and a new faction of Fallen are going to play as key enemies, seeking to understand more about the darkness on Europa. But then we have the good guys, Eris, the Drifter, but also the reintroduction of the Stranger from D1. And so naturally the story element is going to be pretty exciting. And they'll be helping to guide us through this next phase. And the only real activity content that we know about on Europa at the moment would be the Deepstone Crypt, which is also going to be the location for the new raid. Obviously there are a lot of story implications with the Deepstone Crypt, and in terms of a raid location we don't know too much about that raid just yet, of course, but another huge selling point for Beyond Light will be new stasis abilities, and they've described this as a new element in itself, and we've seen what specifically look like supers with the Titan's huge frozen shoulder barge thing, and then warlocks with a spear and hunters with frozen pickaxe type projectiles. They certainly look pretty cool, but Luke Smith explained that these will also have a fair amount of gameplay depth and significant customization, likening them to the subclass tree model from Destiny 1, but bundled into a new system, either way allowing for much more player choice and flexibility according to Smith. The other main gameplay teases that we have for Beyond Light specifically would be for some of the weapons. So Bungie did share the Europa theme for weapons, and that's what we can see on some kind of new rifle shown here. Essentially this is the style of the core set of weapons for that new location. And then in terms of exotics, Hawkmoon is going to be returning, and they included that the weapon won't come with luck in the chamber this time, so we'll have to see how it's been reworked. And then we have the reprise of the Known Time to Explain, which is also linked to the pre-order for the DLC. And otherwise, a mysterious tease to some pretty cool looking exotics that we can see right here. And Bungie say there are those that believe Europa is nothing more than a frozen Golden Age graveyard, but you know better, and beneath its ruins lie countless relics, an arsenal of weapons, and more. And of course, we've speculated a little bit in the community as to precisely what these weapons are going to be. Let us know what you think about them down below. But in terms of a roundup of Beyond Light itself, that's pretty much most of what we know at this precise moment. However, before we get into serious gameplay changes, let's speak about the Destiny Content Vault, because this is going to affect how content rolls out and some of the stuff that we're going to see in Year 4. And so when Beyond Light launches, the Cosmodrome from Destiny 1 is going to return to the game. They do however say that it won't be at the full scale of what we saw in Destiny 1 initially, although it will include the Will of Crota strike. However, it appears to be the case that they plan to update the destination throughout the course of the year. And in Season 13, they're going to expand on the size of the destination, as well as introducing the Devil's Lair and Fallen Saber Strikes. And so obviously that stuff is pretty exciting, and then they separately revealed that D1's first raid, the Vault of Glass, will also return to the game. Those are the details that we currently have about those pieces of content, and I would imagine that it's going to be a little while until we get a lot more information about those things specifically. But of course the other side of reprising content is that certain pieces of content will actually be added to the Vault themselves, so that would include Titan, Mercury, Leviathan, Mars, and Io as current locations in Destiny 2, as well as weapon sunsetting, which is a completely separate mechanic which, if you need more details about, I will link a video for down below. In terms of the director and what we can expect that to look like in Beyond Light though, this is how it will appear in the game. So we have the new location Europa. Of course, some of the other locations have been removed. We can see Earth here actually has 2 main selectable destinations, and that would include the EDZ as well as the Cosmodrome. Additionally, Bungie confirmed the fact that strikes on destinations which are being taken away will also be removed from the game. They'll do additional things like curate the PvP map playlist a little bit, and combine Gambit and Gambit Prime into one single mode. The final thing to mention really about content flow would be that starting in November, and for all of the seasons that we see in Year 4, activities will last the entire year. And so no longer will the featured activities be taken out of the game at the end of the season, but Bungie plan to keep them in, and they've said that they will ensure at the very least that certain weapons will continue to be featured and reintroduced throughout the course of different years. Now though, let's speak about game updates and changes to Destiny 2 as we currently know it, as well as a few pretty welcome introductions. Firstly, let's speak about aspirational loot. Bungie have said that they will improve the rewards for aspirational activities like raids, trials, and the dungeon. And going forward, activities will reward players with power, items, and vanity, so when they build an aspirational activity, it's going to have at least one accessory to pursue. An example of that would be an exotic Spyro or something at the end of a new dungeon. And they're saying that that's the very minimum they plan to do separate to armor and weapon rewards. But Destiny 2's next raid, and of course that's the one that will take place on Europa, will have brand new armor, weapons, and exotic accessories to pursue. So importantly, we won't see any kind of reprised or reskinned armor for the new raid. But then moving into Year 4, Bungie will be adding a new set of armor for the core playlists, including Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible. This armor will share a set of new geometry with decals and shaders specific to the activity, and they plan to create new sets like this each year, and essentially they will roll out every single fall. And so at the very least for those core activities, we can expect to see the introduction of one new armor set every single year, which I think is definitely better than farming the same armor sets for 3 years. And then they've also made guarantees about aspirational pursuit armor as well. And so this season, Bungie have said that in development, they removed the Daito armor from the Eververse store and actually itemized it into the Prophecy dungeon. And moving forward, they plan to do something similar to this every single season. That doesn't mean we're going to get a dungeon with new armor every single season, but what they're saying is that the armor will come from activities and not the season pass or Eververse. And so it could be a specific quest, it could be a new seasonal activity reward. And I think that's definitely positive because Bungie have said that they're adding a new pursuit weapon each and every season. So at the very least, we are going to see one pursuit weapon, which I think most players can agree is better than not getting a pursuit weapon at all. And they've added that the weapon can be earned by playing your preferred core playlist. And that would include the Vanguard Strikes, Gambit, and the Crucible. And so it's essentially a ritual weapon that covers all 3 of those modes, but Bungie add that the weapon will have activity-specific legendary skins that can be unlocked in each playlist. So you'll be able to customize the weapon, cosmetic at least, to the core playlist that you enjoy playing the most. And then we are going to see additional aspirational pursuit improvements, and that would include that Luke Smith announced they're looking to add a kind of gilding system to titles, and that's something that's currently in the works, with the potential for titles to have kind of a leveling system or a rarity system. And instead of having to unlock every single triumph for a specific title, you can unlock a very basic version of that title by completing a certain portion of the triumphs. And then of course you could continue to upgrade it, that's just an example, but it's something that Bungie have said they are actively working on for Year 4. Oh yeah, quick random shout here, but DMG said on the subject of exotic ciphers that the team are looking to add more of them in Season 12. We don't know exactly where they'll come from, whether they'll be random drops or coming from specific playlists, but especially considering Xur also has an engram that you can buy with that exotic cipher, it'll be an additional way to go after rolls on exotics, but also potentially new world exotics when November rolls around, right? Once again, in terms of improving our gear, Bungie have said that they are going to be introducing a transmogrification feature into Destiny 2 that'll allow players to turn their armor into universal ornaments. And they plan to allow players to do this with in-game efforts or silver. But the feature is in early development and is expected sometime during Year 4, and Bungie have said pretty recently that they don't have any additional details to share just yet. However, one area that Bungie are hoping to tackle in Season 12 would be replacing weekly bounties with a mechanism that provides players with account-scoped objectives that grant lots of season rank progress. And they're saying that for Season Pass progression specifically, they plan to move away from the model of completing bounties in order to do that. And moving forward, bounties really will be an optional way to continue to level up to optimize for more or faster core progressions like XP or powerful gear. I think after a year, at the very least, it could be positive to mix up how season pass progression kind of works. But when it comes to actually picking up bounties, Bungie have also said that potentially as early as season 13, they're planning to have a feature where you could pick up core bounties while in orbit. So a selectable node on the destination map potentially that features a series of vendor bounties that you can collect without having to actually go to a social space. Now, let's talk a little bit about Trials of Osiris. Bungie have said that currently the team is working on adept weapons for Trials of Osiris. We'll touch on that in a moment, but if you're curious about when we may get any significant number of new rewards, Bungie have said that non-reprised brand new Trials armor, as well as accessories and weapons, are going to be dropping in Season 13. So, while Trials could see a few updates and maybe a couple of new drops, in terms of getting brand new Trials themed stuff, we're going to have to wait until Season 13. Once again, we don't know if there could be a bit of a delay on when Season 13 drops, because otherwise, the normal timeline would dictate that would be roughly around the 10th of December, which is only a month after the actual launch of Beyond Light. So that could take a little bit longer. And Bungie have added that they will ensure Trials gets brand new armor every single year in the fall. In Season 12 specifically, they've said that they're looking into the potential of adding a material-focused farming card, so that could be a Trials card specifically designed to give you masterwork materials potentially, or other forms of currency. And then in terms of flawless adept weapons for Trials, the idea is that they will be flawless exclusive rewards, and Bungie have said that at the moment they're looking at giving the weapons the ability to replace the weapon mod slot with an adept mod slot that can accept custom built mods in addition to the normal list of weapon mods. And obviously that is a pretty intriguing idea, so of course we know about the potential changes in Season 12 and 13, but Bungie are teasing to other kind of larger system changes that we might see a little bit later on in Year 4. While we're on the subject of weapons, Bungie did outline a few Sandbox changes that they're kind of targeting for November. So, specifically for weapon types in general, we've got sniper rifles, and Bungie have said that they're looking specifically at how zoom translates into ease of use for sniper rifles, and investigating changes that make choosing a sniper rifle zoom more of an interesting choice. And they cite the use of Revoker and Beloved, which we do see a hell of a lot of, and so there is potential for some sniper changes there. Bungie have also said that they're breaking out aggressive hand cannons to allow them to tune their range independently of others. And additionally, they are looking at other hand cannon subfamilies. And then for adaptive auto rifles, they're saying use, especially in the Crucible, is pretty high, and they're not planning to roll back the Season 10 buff, but they're going to adjust the tuning a little bit to give other auto rifle families a chance to shine. And so at the very least, some kind of adjustment to adaptive auto rifles is on the way in November. Give us your thoughts on any of the weapon tuning specifically, but finally, Bungie break down changes that are coming for the Eververse store. So, they've said that they're no longer going to be selling new legendary weapon ornaments in Eververse whatsoever, and presumably that means we could still see ornaments that are currently available in the store pop up on random weeks, for example, but the plan is to add no new ones to the Eververse store moving forward, which presumably, especially with Bungie talking about having them drop as kind of quest rewards for pursuits and things like that, could actually mean that a lot more weapon ornaments will be dropping in the game. However, beginning in Season 12, they've said that they're no longer going to be selling ships, ghost shells, sparrows, or armor ornaments in Eververse that are visually based on themes from aspirational activities. And so of course in Season 11 right now, there may be a few items which you could say are themed to specific things in the game, but they've said as of Year 4, they're going to be able to have an absolute rule that this won't be the case in the Eververse store. Additionally, for currencies and Eververse, for Bright Dust, they're looking to move toward account-specific ways of earning it, as opposed to character-specific. And then they're also updating the Bright Engram to be able to include items from 3+ seasons prior. And so that Season Pass Bright Engram will be a bit of a better catch-up mechanic for finding older Eververse items that maybe aren't coming up in the store. For now, that is pretty much a list, I believe, of all of the core things that we know about Beyond Light, the Destiny Content Vault, all of the system changes for Year 4, and then of course we had that roundup of all of the content and the themes for the Beyond Light expansion itself. Separately to this though, Bungie did confirm that they're planning for 2 other very large expansions over the next couple of years. And so after Beyond Light in 2020, they'll be looking to release the Witch Queen in 2021, and then Lightfall in 2022. And so Destiny is going to have at least a couple more years supported, which is certainly a huge positive. For today though guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give us a rating down below. I really do appreciate you guys coming and tuning in. But also, give us any of your thoughts on what we've spoken about, those system changes, the content, the weapons, and any of the stuff that you're looking forward to. But also be sure, if you are new to the channel, to get subscribed so that I can keep you posted on the world of Destiny 2. Otherwise for today though, thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys very soon.